So I wanted to do this video to talk about one of my favorite tomato varieties that I grow in my garden, and that is the Purple Boy. Purple Boy is an indeterminate, like purple colored tomato. I really like Cherokee Purple. It's like my favorite tomato, but I live in Central Florida in Riverview, kind of near Tampa. We're in Zone 9B. We have a lot of disease pressure here, for tomatoes. So the Cherokee Purples, while they're really good and you can grow them here, they're way more inconsistent. But this Purple Boy is one that I tried a year ago, and I've had outstanding results with this tomato. It's the 2 days after Thanksgiving here. These seeds were started the first week of August, like the 3rd or 4th of August. I sowed the seed, and they're probably less than a week from coming out, maybe a week from being pulled out of these containers and finished. I've harvested at least 15 or 20 tomatoes off this plant already. My 2-year-old pulled a bunch off the other day, which is a little annoying, but and there's still at least a dozen or more on the plant. It's an indeterminate variety. I've seen like semi-determinate. I've seen it labeled as that, but it's just an indeterminate tomato. I don't see, this is about the average size of the tomatoes. Maybe this or this, a little bit smaller. You know, you'll get some smaller ones and you'll get some that are bigger than that, but you know, about yay big. So significantly smaller than a Cherokee Purple, but very, very similar in flavor. And the growth habit of the plant is actually pretty similar. If you've grown a Cherokee Purple, the stems kind of look a certain way. They have a certain kind of growth habit that's unique to me for Cherokee Purple. Like the way the stems are like kind of fused together sometimes. This plant is just now getting some disease pressure in the last week. I didn't take nearly as good a care of these plants as I did in my spring crop. My spring crop was significantly larger, but it's kind of the weather and the spray routine. It got cooled off a little bit earlier this year than it did last year. So in the fall. But what'll happen is that they'll grow and grow and grow, and then the flowers will just start, they'll kind of just fizz out after they've set 30 or 40 or more tomatoes on it. They're just not consistently setting tomatoes. At least here, that's been my experience. But you can see it's growing in like a 20-gallon sub-irrigated container with a cage on it. And again, I don't prune it. I haven't pruned it at all. You can see how it's just like the stems are just kind of hanging down like that, just loaded with tomatoes. It's got a little bit of the leaf spot that started on it. On this side, you can see these leaves kind of succumbing to it. But they get stressed easy towards the end of the season as it gets colder. And we had like a week where the sun didn't come out here. Like last week, maybe 5-6 days ago, we had this long streak of days where the sun didn't even shine, and it was kind of gloomy and wet, and not warm. So, but overall, this is a fantastic variety of tomato. And again, I got the seeds from Hoss Tools. I'll grow this every year. I mean, it's just a good, really reliable producer of tomatoes, and that good, like, purple tomato. If you've ever had a Cherokee Purple, you know, or like any of the other purple varieties, they have a sort of distinctive look and flavor that I really, really enjoy. So again, this is the Purple Boy, and I do spray my tomatoes with the Monterey Complete Disease Control, and then sometimes I'll spray liquid copper. It just depends particularly when in the earlier part of the season when they're just starting to flower. You really want to make sure you keep them under control, keep that disease pressure down when they're young like that. And then as they get more mature, I've had less problem. Been drier, but it kind of depends on the weather too. So, but again, I would say that this is a for sure variety that's successful here in Central Florida. Now I grow them in containers. I don't grow in the ground. There's too much nematode pressure where I'm at to grow in the ground successfully, in my experience. So yeah, I'll cut one open here in a minute and show you what the inside looks like. But again, it's indeterminate tomato. It's an excellent variety. And I will be growing it again in the spring for sure. So here's the ripe Purple Boy tomato. This is about the average size of the tomatoes that I've harvested off these plants. You can see the color is almost identical to that of a Cherokee purple. This one's good and ripe. So we'll cut into it here so you can see how it looks on the inside. I'm about to make me a tomato sandwich here. And I reckon it's gonna be pretty good. So, it's good and red. It's very similar to a Cherokee purple as far as the color goes. Maybe not. Some of them are a little more meaty than others, but the flavor of this tomato is outstanding. I'll take this end piece right here. This one's perfectly ripe. And all of these tomatoes I picked when they were like just blushing a little bit. So like I said, it's a really good slicing tomato here. And I'm gonna have a perfect amount for a tomato sandwich here. So that's it, Purple Boy. These are from Hoss Tools seed. And like a Cherokee purple, sometimes they'll get these cracks, you know, and they'll have this little bit of harder green stuff near the top, but it's okay. It's still a fantastic tomato. So, delicioso.